Information to help you run your business better and improve your marketing campaigns. My name is Hank Hoffmeyer, and thank you for joining me on Hank's Marketing and Business Tips. Welcome to the HMBT podcast. This is episode 218, coming to you from North Carolina, and my guest from New Jersey today. I actually met this gentleman over the internet. He was actually an eye contact customer in the past, and he asked me to go speak at a conference in Las Vegas, which was awesome. It was great to meet some people and talk about email marketing there. We might get into what happened in Vegas, but usually it's supposed to stay in Vegas, but you never know. I have Micheal Joliat with me today. He is with Tailoj Marketing, and we'll talk about the meaning of that company name as well. Micheal is very interesting, and welcome to the show, Micheal. So let's talk about the various things that I just mentioned, get those out of the way. Then we can start talking about marketing.
Awesome. Happy to be here, Hank.
So let's talk about your company name and then your last name. Some people might not put it together because they're hearing me say it, but I think if you see it in print, it makes sense.
So when I was starting the company a while now, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, we were trying to figure out a good domain name that we could point to people. And it felt like even at the time, there was nothing available. And I was just going through all these different ideas and concepts of what we could do. And finally I was like, what about my last name backwards? That'll be fun. And I typed it into GoDaddy and it worked, and I went for it. And it's fun. It's really interesting because so many of my clients don't actually realize it. And you have the aha moment 10 years later sitting in their office and they're like, wait, that's your last name backwards. So it's always a funny thing, and it's a good conversation starter.
And that's how I remember it when you told me, and it totally makes sense. And I think it takes courage to do something like that. Just, I'm going to do something different. A lot of people have this thing where they have the ego, my website's going to be my name, or my company name is, my name. So I'm going to have that as my domain. And you just went out there and you did it. And I have to give you kudos for that.
When you say Tailoj, it sounds a little foreign, sounds a little interesting. You're not sure exactly what it is, which I kind of like it. Lets us kind of evolve over time as to what our clients need and what they're looking for.
And when you talk about what they're looking for, what is it that you actually do?
So our specialty is really data-based solutions to marketing problems. So I have a background in economics and statistics from my undergrad, along with a marketing and advertising and public relations degree. And the math always was interesting to me to see the patterns and see how we could kind of grow our clients and the work that we were doing for our clients through testing and segmentation and kind of looking, like I said, analyzing afterwards and finding the patterns and finding best practices. Sounds a little boring and a little nerdy, but it has allowed us to really supercharge small budgets and help our clients develop best practices moving forward. We've worked with large statistical engineering companies to implement ideas and models, and we've worked with really small companies to just take a look at what they're doing, test from an email marketing perspective, different subject lines or different postcard images at the top and all of that.
I think it's a necessary evil to really dig in, look at data, use data, and that's something we're going to dig into. Therefore, it is dry, it is daunting, but sounds like you really help your customers. I remember when a few years ago, you had me come out to World Ticket Conference and speak on a panel about email marketing. And that's when kind of automation really was the daunting thing, and people didn't really know how to or want to use automation, where I still feel there's not a saturation level with that, but I think there's more adoption than back when I spoke. And now it's making sure that you're targeting people effectively, because people don't want rubbish in their inboxes or on social media. They want what they want when they want it. And by using data and segmenting correctly, targeting your personas correctly, learning about your personas, and just looking at analytics when it comes to your marketing campaigns, your data is the crux of that. And, let's dive in and start talking about, we were saying, what should we talk about on the show? And the one thing we mentioned was segmentation with marketing. Talk about some effective ways to do that, because I've probably spoke until my face was blue about that in the past, especially with email marketing at conferences. But I want people to hear it from you because, like you said, you're a data guy.
So I brought you out to speak at the World Ticket Conference, which is a 3-day event that targets people who sell tickets on the secondary market. And so ticket brokers, companies like StubHub and things like that. And the idea was to help them understand the power behind segmentation. And a lot of these ticket brokers are small companies, 1 to 2 employees, maybe 10 employees, which is probably a lot like your listeners' companies. And some are giant companies with thousands of employees. But a lot of them are blasting out one message to all of their customers. So when spring training comes around, they're blasting out baseball emails constantly. And the issue with that is that people don't necessarily have any interest in baseball. And you have all this customer data that you could look at and say, well, this person is interested in baseball, and this person's interested in football, and this person's interested in kids shows, and this person's interested in rock concerts. And if you can kind of curate your message or target your message around those interests with some spillover, because you never know if someone might be interested in something else, but really the primary driving message should be that what they're interested in, you can really turbocharge your message and your results from them. The idea is that if you give them something that they're interested in their inbox, on their social media feed, in their regular mailbox, they're more likely to look at it because they're already interested in that. And then you present and by the way, we also do X, Y, and Z. It really does help get eyeballs on your product and your whatever you're doing, because there's so much going on out there right now that by piquing their interest with an eye-catching image that you already know that they're interested in, you're going to get those views.
Especially with the human attention span being so low. If you keep sending irrelevant content to people, they are going to tune out. But if you learn about their desires and what they want to do and what events they like, if you do sell tickets, you'll end up selling more. You can't just hope that somebody's going to all of a sudden like baseball if they've never really liked baseball growing up their whole life.
Exactly. And maybe you have a client or a listener out there who owns a restaurant, and you're constantly pushing out things about lunch specials because you're slow at lunch, but you have a customer who never comes in at lunch and they maybe never open your emails. But you look at when their reservations have been and they always come in at dinner. Maybe you should be pushing dinner on them and say, oh, by the way, have you come for lunch? Or have the server mention it to them when they come in at their reservation. You're putting something in front of them that they want, and then you're doing the secondary sell.
You brought up a good point, like learning what your consumers want or what your customers want. One way probably could be doing surveys too, and then tying those back into the data you already have, so you know who's answering them. If you can't get it, in store, in person, what you can do is just send out a Survey Monkey survey, get the questions, and have it come back into an integration into, say, platforms like iContact or Campaigner or any email platform. Get to know them, because maybe I work in Raleigh, right? But I live towards Greensboro. That means I can't eat lunch towards Greensboro. And you're right about that. But maybe I can have dinner because it's in the evening.
Right. Exactly. And, targeting or sending out messaging where you're trying to learn about your clients is a wonderful idea. And companies do it all the time. And maybe they give them a $5 gift card to get them to do it or something like that, because there's that barrier to entry there. But that data is really valuable. But I would also caution that you probably have a lot of this data already somewhere. You just have to figure out where it is within your existing systems. It could be in your email open rates. It could be in who's clicked on what ad on Facebook. The data is there. It's just a matter of kind of looking for it. And that can sound, I want to caution or say that can sound daunting, but it doesn't have to be. It's not like you're going and doing a huge amount of data mining. You could probably do this in an hour or two one evening and go through and look at who's responded to what and all of that, and build kind of custom lists or segments that you can then market to.
Yeah, you want to look at who clicked what, who opened, who didn't open, frequency of opens, all those things. And especially when you're looking at list hygiene, you want to look at people who haven't opened an email in, say, 6 months, and give them a chance to come back, or just get rid of them for a while, because the beauty is you can always add them back.
Exactly. And you can even ask them what list they want to be on. So maybe they don't want to be on the lunch, to go to back to the restaurant example. Maybe they don't want to be on the lunch specials list, but they want to know if you're doing like a prefix dinner for a date night or something like that.
I use this example in one of my decks from Biscayne Tavern, and what they do in their sign up forms is they ask you what locations you're interested in getting emails about, because they have locations throughout the country. So maybe you're traveling to one every now and then, you'd want that, and the one that's near the city you live in. So that's two. They also ask for your birthday because, you know, a lot of times there's something called friction. In other words, if you ask for too much information, somebody's not going to give it to you. But in that situation, we all know restaurants are going to give you either a discount or a free meal on your birthday. Therefore, you're going to provide that information. I really applaud them for saying, hey, we only want to send emails that are relevant to the subscribers, and when they want to go to certain locations. And we want to give them that discount on their birthday. So that's where it starts, right? Segmentation starts with when you're gathering data, when you get that new subscriber, ask them as much as you can. Sometimes it's just starting with the email address and the first name, but then asking for more later. But if you can get away with asking for it up front, then try to do that.
Absolutely. And then, like I said, you couple that information with the data that you have and the information that you have about the customer, and you can build a really nice profile very quickly.
What are some other effective segmentation strategies that you can offer?
So a great example that could be employed by a lot of people is the idea that of an add-on sale. So let's say you're a retail company and you have a basic product that people are offering, or that you're selling and people are buying, and there's an add-on to it. For example, let's say you sell sheets and you also sell pillowcases. An add-on product of pillowcases is the perfect thing to push out to people maybe a couple weeks after they've made their initial purchase. And you could set up automation there that would allow you to automatically, if a customer didn't buy an extra set of pillowcases, because, for example, sheets always come with 2 sets of pillowcases and everybody always has 4 pillows, you could set up automation that would automatically hit them with a email about pillowcases. You wouldn't necessarily even have to offer a discount in that way, but you could just hit them, put the product in front of them, and I guarantee you're going to see results from that email or from that social ad, because they need the pillowcases. And once again, you're putting something in front of them that they need, so they're more likely to respond to it.
And what I hear you saying is basically using purchase data, and that could be from Shopify, Magento, any other place. There's a lot of integrations, a lot of platforms have either direct integrations, or there are third-party services that actually make it very easy to connect platforms. One of them would be Zapier, and the other one would be PieSync, and there's many more. Don't be afraid to try to connect these platforms together. Even Salesforce, right? You can use that if you're more into sales rather than just retail, and get that data you need so you can make those triggers. Hey, 3 days after somebody makes a purchase of sheets, let's go ahead and send them this email about extra pillowcases at a discount if you act fast. I think that would actually get people's interest, because you really hit the nail on the head when you spoke about, hey, only 2 pillowcases come with a set of sheets, but everybody has 4 pillows, and that's true. Well, for me at least.
Well, and I would definitely suggest looking at some of these customer management systems that would allow that information to feed automatically. But if you're a small company, you don't actually need that. You could use a Google Doc to track your customer purchases and see what products they're purchasing very, very simply, very inexpensively. And then you could, segment an email out to just those people, very, very quickly, or, do a boosted social media post to just those people very, very quickly.
It's amazing looking in, say, eye contact and looking at some clients. It's amazing how many of them don't have what we call custom fields where they're gathering that types of data. A lot of people don't even use birthday or anniversary date or date of last purchase. I highly recommend doing that, because we're moving into that area where you definitely need to target your audience better, and no better way than using the data. And it, like you said, it does not have to be scary. And maybe you do hire somebody for a short period of time to help you to learn the ropes and then take it on your own. We have a service called Premier Service, where we're basically consulting with our clients. And sometimes people sign up for 3 months. They want to suck our brains dry, get the information, get the strategy. Then they go out and do it on their own, and they take off their training wheels and they go. And I'm proud of those folks.
I will even admit to have signing clients up for Premier Service just to kind of get additional ideas and make sure that I'm staying on top of everything that we're doing, just to kind of, like I said, like Hank said, suck those ideas out and make sure that we're doing everything that we can to help our clients.
Well, it's a huge secret because basically for a nominal fee, you're getting a designer and you're getting a strategist for less than what you would pay off the street for somebody like that. And we can be an extension of your marketing team. And what's interesting is there's so many clients that sign up for that and they don't take advantage of it. Then 3 months later, they cancel and they say, I don't see an ROI on that. And we're like, well, you never used it. Every time I call you, you're too busy or, you put off the meeting. But if we actually worked together, we would have saw some results. And that goes with anything. It's what you put into it is what you get out of it. And that's with marketing and that's with working with premier services.
Well, and just to talk about ROI quickly here, I have never had a client that we've done this work for that was disappointed afterwards. Sometimes the idea of this level of work and looking at the segmentation and pulling the data seems daunting, but I've never had a client who's regretted it after we've actually done it and implemented the strategies that we've learned. It increases your ROI, it makes money, and it increases sales, bottom line.
Well, you have this expertise of being able to look at and implement data to actually turn the tables and help your clients make a profit. There are some agencies out there that they're in it just to make money on helping people just do things, send email, post on social media, but not actually dig into the results and the analytics. And probably, you've been in business for a long time. You probably have a lot of great reviews and you probably get a lot of word of mouth referrals, right?
That as a marketing company, we are horrible at marketing ourselves. All of our clients come from referral. I was telling you earlier that we actually don't even have a website that's live right now. It's just a contact form because our website was so out of date. I had to take it down, and we're relaunching next month with a new one. But we literally have a contact form on our website right now.
Right. So that's a shoe cobbler's problem, right?
Exactly.
You should see my monthly newsletter. And it's funny, is like I don't really pay attention to the open rates. I know it's high and people like it, but I don't go in and analyze it every month. I do my cleanup every so often, but I just put it out in hopes that I'm going to help people. I'm not trying to sell anything, and it's really just my thoughts about what I did in the month and what helped me get through the month as far as tools, processes, books, podcast information, and all that. And like I said, I just put it out. I actually send it out at 6 a.m. because I feel like if you want to receive my emails, you're going to look for it.
I love it.
Let's shift gears and talk a little bit about social media advertising, because again, that's another one that I think people find daunting because I think they feel like they have to spend a lot of money, thousands of dollars to get eyeballs on social media posts and ads to make money. And they probably feel like they're not making any kind of profit when they're doing that.
Absolutely. And that's a common misconception that I hear from people all the time. I was having a conversation yesterday with a client about putting out a keynote speaker, doing the marketing for a conference. And the client wanted to know how much it was going to cost to promote, an ad about X, Y, and Z. And I ran some quick numbers and said, well, we could probably reach 15,000 people for $75. And she was shocked by that number. And I said, no, that's probably pretty standard if it's an impressions campaign, because you can reach that many people. And it's not just a broad swath of anybody. You can actually target the list down. I was actually running a campaign for my college earlier this month. And for $15, we reached 10,000 alumni who did not like our page. And it was with a thank you video for a big giving push. And if you think about that, right, I reached 10,000, or I think it was 10 or 15,000 people who went to the same college that I did not like our page, and it cost $15. That's huge, huge, huge ROI. And with proper targeting, you can do that. Facebook has these awesome tools now where you can create lookalike audiences. So if you have, let's say, 1,000 email addresses or 100 email addresses or 15,000 email addresses, you can feed them into Facebook and they'll create a clone audience that looks just like those people. It's super valuable because you already know who your best customers are. You can provide that list, and then Facebook will find people who are very similar to them and you can market to them. And then you can try a different list and move it over here and market to them and see where your value is coming. It's a little confusing to get started. I will say that. I think the Facebook user interface is not the easiest thing in the world, but there's a lot of YouTube tutorials out there. There's a lot of people who can help you kind of get set up and started, and then do a check-in maybe 6 months later with you and see where you are and help you tweak it and then let you go for another 6 months. We tend to do that a lot with clients who want to manage it themselves, especially in the real estate space. It seems predominant in that space where they're going to run the ads. We help them set up kind of their target markets, and then we do check-ins every 6 months for a nominal fee, just to kind of check and see how they're doing, what they're doing, and how we can help them better reach their customers.
And that reminds me of a tip I always give to email marketers, right? What I tell them to do is take a list of non-openers and upload them as an audience and serve them ads, because maybe it's not getting into the inbox and they're not even seeing your emails. Not that they're ignoring it. They don't even know it's there. But if you could serve them an ad, you might be able to get them either back in the fold or sell them that product or service.
And we still do a fair amount of direct mail for clients, especially within real estate or small retail. And a lot of times before we hit a direct mail campaign or drop a direct mail campaign, we'll actually soften up the target area with a social campaign so that there's better brand recognition when the postcard or the brochure or whatever it is hits the mailbox. And we see a significantly higher ROI on those campaigns than if we don't do that. And like I said, it's a very nominal spend to do that, but it amps up your results.
Right. I still think there's a place for that as well. And going back to Facebook ads, I had a gentleman named Greg from a company called CrossNet. It's almost like a four-way volleyball game that they invented, and they're trying to get into school systems and then also just into retail. They make about $2 million a year right now, and they're spending a few $1,000s on Facebook ads. And he said it's worth it to them. It scales how you scale. If you're a small mom and pop spending that $75 to boost a post or do an ad, that's worth it. And you'll probably see the ROI. Then as you grow and you have money to spend on your marketing, I believe it grows with you. The more you spend, the more results you get. Because maybe if it's just you and you have a company and says you're selling sneakers on the side and you spend $2,000 on an ad, you probably will not have the inventory / time to fill all the orders you're going to get from running those ads.
Exactly. And that's limited resources. We all have limited resources, be it time, staff, dollars, and a lot of these electronic forms of advertising, especially in the social space, allow you to very specifically build a campaign around what you have the bandwidth for.
Let's play a game. I want you to rank these. Have you ever seen what is it? The Late Show with James Corden, where he does the what is it? The spill your guts or fill your guts. You ever see that?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So it's kind of like rank this. Maybe you don't want to. I don't know. Maybe your clients are listening. All right. So what I want you to do is rank the the ROI of these platforms. Like which one's the best and which one's the worst. Let's go with TikTok, Facebook, and I know Instagram's kind of tied in, but you can separate them. Facebook, Instagram, and then pay-per-click. Let's do those four.
I think the hard part is, I'm going to say it's very industry specific. I'm going to go with Facebook, Instagram, pay-per-click, TikTok. And that's a new change. 5 years ago, I was telling a lot of my retail clients to stay away from Facebook and Instagram. I didn't see any value in it. We weren't seeing ROI, but that has changed. People are using Facebook to find products. People are willing to click on ads for sponsored posts, and especially if something's eye-catching, if they know it. Same with Instagram, I think to a lesser extent. PPC, especially as the search engine marketing side, Google AdWords is getting very competitive. I think Google has rolled out some good changes with the way that they're displaying the ads now. They're segmenting them out so they look a little bit more like search results, which I think is helping. And then TikTok, I think is a good way to build brand recognition, especially with younger people. But I don't see it monetizing yet. But that I think will probably change just like Facebook and Instagram did.
I agree with you on the TikTok, because I think actually, and I didn't know this before I started saying that or telling you about the ranking, but with TikTok, I think you can get more organic visibility than having to actually pay for the ads.
Absolutely. But once again, I think it's brand recognition right now. I don't think you are going to get direct clicks from it or page views, things like that. At
I
least,
agree. Well, you got yourself out of eating bull penis, so that's good. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, you definitely have to Google it. Spill your guts or fill your guts. It's where they bring on celebrities and they're asked hard questions, and if they don't want to answer it because it'll, I guess, embarrass them or whatever, make them look bad, they have to eat like awful types of food that you would probably never fathom eating.
they've never asked a question, or James Corden has never asked a question that I would not just answer to not eat the food that's in front of them.
There was one, I'm trying to remember the one with the Jonas Brothers.
Yes.
They actually answered the most questions. It was the one with the most questions to answer. They were like, sorry to throw you under the bus, but
Well, they were all about each other too, so they're brothers. It's fine.
yeah. Well, one thing was too is, and I think they wanted to punish each other because if they didn't want to answer the question, all three of them had to eat the food.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about direct to consumer marketing tips.
Okay. I think my biggest tip is to look at your marketing before you send it out and say, if I was a consumer, would this get me? Because you are a consumer too. You consume products and services all across the board. And taking a step back to really look and say, is this a compelling offer? Does this make me want to buy? Does this make me want to make a phone call? Whatever it is, I think that is the biggest thing that we miss as marketers and business owners. We oftentimes get blinded by the process. It seems daunting. And a lot of times we get frustrated because it's taken longer than we expected to launch a campaign or to build what we're going to do. And we just say, okay, let's go with it. And so I always think it's a good idea to take a step back, look at it, and make sure that it's what you want to put out there.
I always talk about, stop trying to promote what you want to sell, write copy and put out ads and emails to make people want to buy what you have rather than trying to sell what you want to sell that particular week. And you said it, step into your consumer's shoes and say, if I was looking at it from their perspective, would I be interested in this video? Or is it really just what I want to promote and push? Is it because my favorite color is blue, am I going to use blue all over my email or on my social posts? But where, green may help you convert more, don't be stubborn and just do what you want to do. Get some, perspective, get some input from other people. Ask people in your office, or if you're just a solopreneur, ask your family, or, hit somebody up on LinkedIn. I bet if you connected with Michael on LinkedIn and you said, hey, I just wanted to get a quick thought on how this looked, he'd probably be nice enough to say, that's ugly, or why would you do that? Or no, that's awesome, try it.
Well, and there's also tons of networking groups on Facebook and LinkedIn now where you can put a post out on a group and get 1,000 responses back in 10 minutes about, changes, things that they might like to see. Yes, it's good. I wouldn't suggest putting it there if you're just looking for, a big green light and thumbs up, because that's not what they're going to give you. But what Hank is saying is selling as a service. You have to look at what you're doing. And you're not selling them a product, you're selling them a service. You're putting something in front of them that they want, that they need. That's what we're talking about with the segmentation at the beginning, is you're giving them something that they're interested in, that that they want, and then they're more likely to click the buy button or come into the store or whatever it is.
Well said. All right. So if folks wanted to reach out to you, maybe talk to you, connect with you, work with you, what is the best way that they can do that?
So right now, I would say in a month, I would say visit our website. But right now, the best way is to reach out directly to me via email. It's the letter M at tailoj.com, which is TAILOJ.com, or LinkedIn. It's Mike Joliat, Joliat.
And what I'll do is I'll link that in the show notes so folks can find that. But it was great talking to you from my old home state of New Jersey. I definitely need to get back up there. I love the view. We're actually on video, and you probably won't see this in the podcast, but I see Jersey City in the background there. My wife grew up in the city next door. So I'm having a little nostalgia, and I'm actually starting to taste some of the Italian food up the street from you there.
If we had smell-o-vision, I'd open the window. I'm sure everyone's getting ready for dinner.
Awesome. Folks, if you want to hear previous episodes, go to hankhoffmeyer.com/Alexa. I have a YouTube channel where I post some random videos here and there, and also the audio version from this podcast, if that's your preferred way of consuming this podcast. I'm also on Spotify, iTunes, and a Google Play Store, among others. And until next week, happy marketing, folks.